hear me at the back?
Yes.
You can?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Thank you for coming in this morning. We're going to be focusing on private equity. We're going to be looking for companies, fund managers that will provide that desperately needed capital that we've been talking about for most of yesterday, and of course for the bulk of today's sessions as well. Because on one end you've got companies showing up and saying, look, we have a problem getting access to capital. We need capital in order to do X and Y and Z, to grow our companies, to hire more people, to research better. But where's the capital coming in? Are there investable cases that we can actually put cash into? That's what we'll explore in a lot more detail today. To that end, we have a fairly distinguished panel that we're going to be working with in a fairly interactive discussion in the next hour and a bit. But first, to set the stage for what we'll discuss, I'd like to invite Stefano from BCG. He's our resident expert for the discussion this morning. Stefano, please, over to you.
So good morning, everybody. So I'm Stefano Yabas. I'm a partner at BCG in our Johannesburg office. So I'm going to spend a few minutes just to set the stage of this discussion as Rama put it. So when we look at a topic, usually what we do is that we actually look at history and look back to understand where we're going. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, can somebody click for me? Perfect. So as I was saying, we look at what happened in the past first, and if you look at what happened in private equity in Africa, actually for the past 20 years it was a good growth. It was a very good run. You know, started in the early 90s with DFIs and a few Africa private equity funds, mainly in South Africa. If you add another 10 years in the early 2000s, this became a little bit bigger. You had 12, more than a dozen of African funds, more than over $1 billion of funds managed. And if you look at today, you have more than 200 Africa-focused funds, and you have more than 30 billion US under management, which you could think is a crowded place, but we'll get back to that. So it's actually an enjoyable growth for the private equity sector. And from 2012, the number of PE houses increased by 50%, and the number of PE-backed buyout also increased by 50%. So quite an enjoyable growth over the past 20 plus years. And this has led to balanced deal flow. This is a little small, but basically when you look at where the share of deals in terms of volume, that's the blue side, and on the value, that's the orange side, is on the continent. It used to be only in South Africa, but now it's quite balanced between South Africa, West Africa, East Africa, and a little bit of North Africa. It's a very balanced portfolio. And in terms of industry where those investments are made, it's mainly consumer-facing industries, so consumer staples, consumer discretionary, and financial services. This is where the bulk of investments are going, and this makes sense when you look at the thesis of Africa growth, which is on the back of middle class rising, and always in markets, the first development comes towards consumer. So that was the story over the past 20 plus years. But if you look at recent past, actually what has happened is that the volume of deals has actually dropped significantly over the last quarters, and that could be concerning when you say after many years of growth, when you have such a steep growth. So we're wondering why is that, and I tried to pick a few reasons why here, and I think there are mainly three reasons why. Okay, the third one. Maybe it will work this time. So there are mainly three reasons why we believe this has dropped. The first one is, we've all experienced it, a little slowdown in the economical growth of the continent, and mainly the two powerhouses. You know, I said the flow was South Africa, West Africa. The two powerhouses are South Africa and Nigeria. Have experienced some trouble moments, I would say, in the past years. Second reason is that we started to see the returns of some of those Africa funds lately, and some of those were actually not where we were expecting them to be. When you look at IRRs, they are actually below what you could get in the US, for instance. And when you go ask for your next round of investment, or when you're thinking of, okay, now I need to invest the rest of the balance of my money, if I don't invest it in something that will yield those returns, I will not get the next round. So that's another reason why. But I think the most important reason why is that actually it is not easy to be a PE fund on this continent, especially when you're using the typical PE model that is coming from the Western countries. And why is that? A couple of reasons that makes it not easy. The first thing is that identifying, it's going to be very interesting, the slides do not look like this, but that's fine. The first reason is that identification and screening of opportunities is quite challenging. So if you think that if you are in the US and you're looking for deals, you have all the information that you want, you have all the companies listing. I mean, it's fairly easy to get the list of companies in a given area. When you think about Africa, you actually need to go hunt for that information. If you want to invest in consumers, some of the things that you have to do is get into a shop, look at what is sold there, or actually getting into a traditional market, look at what is sold there, and look at the back of the packaging and find out who is manufacturing it, and then find where is that manufacturing facility and understand how it works, is it the right one, etc., etc. The second thing is that there aren't many mature companies to invest in. So this is when you look at the size of a stock market over 50 billion in market capitalization in Africa, there are only 4 markets. When you compare all the stock markets of Africa, the stock listing, to some other listings like the US or even the Bombay Stock Exchange, it's a number that is very small. So you don't have many sizable opportunities to invest in. And then even if you found it, actually it's difficult to understand what is the size of the market that you are investing in. This is an example of a project that we did in the beauty and personal care. And you don't have the number there, but you have the scale effect of this. And this is, when we engage our discussion the first time, we could see that the market assessment from different market research firms was quite different. And where is the reality? Is it to the left? Is it to the right? Or is it even further to the right? Depending on that, your investment thesis could be quite different. So that's a very challenging environment to do that. And how do you do that? You don't have a Nielsen that is giving you, their panel research on all the modern trade stores, which helps you to quickly understand the size. What you need to do is you need to hunt for the size. You need to do market interviews, international experts interviews. You need to triangulate the data. You need to do store visits, etc., to get to, okay, this is a business that I want to invest in because it's a sizable market and it's going to grow. That's a lot of work before you can actually move into investment. And it's not only that. As we all know, it's also talent is not readily available. I will not spend much time on this. I mean, I think we all know that. So if you're actually on the thesis of a buyout where you need to put very good talent to actually turn around the company, where are you going to find that talent, and how much are you going to spend for that talent? The economies lack scale. So one of the theses could be, I want to grow this business. Okay, maybe the market they're in is too small, so I want to go to a neighboring market. but then it's a completely different game. The regulation is completely different. I cannot easily put my goods in that other market, so I need actually to set up a complete new business in that other neighboring market. So I don't get the scale very easily, scale that I would get in other places. Third-party management is complex. You have all the sets of advisor at a price that is related to your deal when you try to do a deal in Europe or in the US. In Africa, depending on the market, you actually need to hunt for those advisors. You actually need to find the person who knows those people that are running that company to make sure that those are the right people you are buying from. Where do you find that? That's quite complex. And finally, industry regulations and business standards are quite unreliable. What I always like, for instance, that in a country like Nigeria, there are many businesses where importing is banned or has quotas. So I don't know, if you want, for instance, to be in the textile industry in Nigeria, you're actually supposed to manufacture in Nigeria and not to import. There are lots of companies that are quite successful that are importing. So then if you buy one of those companies, what happens? Will the government come and ask you to pay the tax or to pay a fine for all the business for the past 30 years of that company? So then you're like, should I do it or not? Should I make a deal with the government to make sure that they don't come after me? So those are all the reasons why it's actually not easy. And once we've taken, you guys from the PE firms have taken the first easy targets, it becomes harder. And this is why you see this gap. But however, we still believe that the PE days are actually quite good ahead. We think that the growth will come back, and this is for a few fundamental reasons. First of all, the market is still vastly underpenetrated. If you compare Africa to some Western countries, as a percentage of GDP that is invested, it's actually tenfold less. So there is a lot of room to grow. Second thing is that the narrative of Africa is actually quite a good one. We saw that PE firms were first investing in consumer industries. The consuming class is not going anywhere, it's actually growing, so that's quite good. There is a good number of targets that are available. Now the question is, are they the right target for the types of investment that those shops are looking after? But you have nearly 11,000 African companies between 10 and $100 million revenues. If people are interested in investing in those are there available to grab. The ecosystem is improving. We heard a lot about this from the presidents of the three countries yesterday. The governance is getting better. They're trying to do as much as they can on ease of doing business. Some are going up on the ranking. The local capabilities are improving. And finally, the reality is that there is a lack of alternative financing. The debt market are quite shallow. Banks are not very willing to give money at a good rate to companies. So there is limited equity financing. So there is this need for PE to actually to help recover it. So now, yes, the growth is ahead, and we believe that there is a future for private equity market. But at the same time, it is not the Western model that will work. So we need to find the right model for Africa, and this is something that can be talked about also during the panel, and we actually at BCG wrote a report about it that we're happy to share. And now what we would like our panelists to think about are some of the following questions here that were the ones for this panel around what can DFI do. DFI have an important role to play on this. They can help create this new model. You need different terms of different horizon of finance in Africa to make those deals successful, for instance. That's something that DFI can help. Governance needs to improve. What are the most effective way to prepare the companies that are seeking for this private investment to actually get it, to pitch for that money? Those are the type of things that Rama and the panelists are going to talk about today. Thank you.
Okay, that's on. Right, so I'd like to introduce my panelists today. It's a broad mix, it's a very diverse mix, but it's an interesting